Hello, my name is Monica Perez, and I am an executive editor at Charlesbridge. And I'm here today with Amy Newmark from Chicken Soup for the Soul. Can you say hello, Amy?
Hi, I'm so pleased to be here. I'm so excited about these books. I am the publisher,
Mhm.
editor-in-chief, and author at Chicken Soup for the Soul, and even more importantly, a mother and a grandmother. So I really care about these books for my own grandchildren.
That is a very good point. I have children of my own. They've been very excited about these books as well. So the reason we're here, of course, is because we're launching two brand new series: Chicken Soup for the Soul Kids and Chicken Soup for the Soul Babies. We're going to release our first season of these books this fall. And I just sort of would like to show the books. We have a couple of board books, and here you can see them. Everyone says please except Cat, and everyone shares except Cat. Those are our two books for the fall season for the Chicken Soup for the Soul Babies line. And for our Chicken Soup for the Soul Kids line of picture books, we also have two new titles. And for those, we don't have book dummies yet, so I'm going to share my screen just to show you the covers of those books. Sophie and the Tiny Dog Nappy, a book about doing the right thing, and The Sunshine Squad, discovering what makes you special. And we have many more books planned for both of these series, so that's really exciting on our end. Over the years, the Chicken Soup for the Soul adult series of books have had a huge impact on readers worldwide. And at Charlesbridge, we're so glad to join you, Amy, and your folks in bringing more soul enriching stories to the youngest readers. Why do you think that now is a good time to reach out to the youngest kids?
So we actually started this with you guys, what, 3 years ago? I mean, it sure takes a long time to bring children's books to market. We've been working on this for so long, and that's why I have this humongous grin on my face, because we're finally there. So Chicken Soup for the Soul has served older kids for the last 25 years, Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul, Chicken Soup for the Preteen Soul, even Chicken Soup for the Kids Soul, but it was older kids than the babies and, the early school years. And that was a real hole, and not one that we knew how to fill. We needed somebody really good, which is why I came to Charlesbridge, which I've known forever, Charlesbridge. And I was like, this is my favorite children's publisher, and I hope they say yes. And you guys said yes, so that was great. But I think what's so wonderful about our timing is that the parents are primed and ready to have their kids read these books, because today's parents, today's 20-somethings and 30-somethings, were the teens and the preteens 20 and 25 years ago. And I can't even tell you how many hundreds of 20-somethings and 30-somethings have said to me, I would not have survived my adolescent years without Chicken Soup for the Soul. You guys kept me going. And then today's grandparents were yesterday's parents, and they say to me, I would have gone insane if my daughter hadn't had Chicken Soup for the Soul. And the other thing I think that makes our timing so good is that things have gotten so much more fraught, right? In most countries in the world, not even just the United States. And I feel like our books are so healing, so unifying, so the opposite of the divisiveness that we see out there in the news. And parents really need that help to present the right values to their kids, the values of inclusion and acceptance and everybody being together.
There's so much variety, and the world is so much smaller because of all the connectivity, and that we really have to be sort of looking at everyone as sort of part of our family, basically everyone in the world. And I feel like that's really sort of what has come through with the Chicken Soup for the Soul books, across the years. And also we're hoping to bring that to the picture books and the board books as well.
Chicken Soup for the Soul, since the very first book came out in 1993, has always been extremely inclusive. Mm-hmm. And so from the get-go, we have featured stories from people of all nationalities, ethnicities, religions, immigrants and not immigrants, the LGBTQ plus community. We've always been there for everybody. Any kind of person who you could think of has been represented in our pages and among our readers. So I'm so happy that Charlesbridge is like-minded, and we're going to bring these values to the youngest of our new Chicken Soup for the Soul family members.
So another thing I sort of want to turn to in terms of the content of the books is the social emotional learning aspect of the books. And it's been a big buzz term the past few years, but sort of the need to raise kids with social emotional skills that's never changed. That's always been. And do you feel that this content is carried over into the new series as well?
Absolutely. And at Chicken Soup for the Soul, we are extremely aware of SEL, and it infuses everything that we do. We actually have a big curriculum based on our stories, and it's an SEL curriculum. Our books have been used as part of the curriculum in schools for the past 25 years. That's how a lot of people were exposed to Chicken Soup for the Soul. They were exposed to the books because they were used in the classrooms. I don't even think anybody knew the term SEL 25 years ago, but we were already doing it because it just happens naturally. If you're writing the right kind, if you're engaging in the right kind of storytelling, you're naturally engaging in SEL. And I love the SEL values that I see in the new babies and kids books from Charlesbridge, because you've brought it all the way down to the little babies. They're starting with their SEL right from the beginning, and it's so entertaining and fun for them. It's definitely SEL with a big spoonful of sugar.
Books and series that sort of aim to teach something, I think sometimes it can come across as heavy-handed, and that's something we definitely don't want to do. And I think one of the things that we sort of took from your Chicken Soup for the Soul books is that a lot of these life lessons come in a way that kind of surprises you or is humorous, and that's a really big part of what we've tried to do with the books, is bring in that humorous aspect or sort of creep up on you, so it's not necessarily so in your face.
And in fact, I think that's why teachers have used our books over the decades. That is something that we are adamant about, is that we never preach, we never say to people, this is what you're going to learn and this is what you just learned and here is the rule that you must follow. We never ever do that. We are an entertainment company. We are about storytelling.
So what we've tried to do with that, with sort of our board books, is that we have a little bit of extra content at the end in this like note for parents, if you can see there. And it just talks a little bit about, developmental milestones that your toddler is going to reach and what kinds of things you can start teaching your kids at that age. So there is a little bit of content for the parent as well as the story, the enjoyable story for the kids. And in the picture books, we've done the same thing. We've reprinted some of the stories from your books, like Chicken Soup for the Kid's Soul, in the back of the book. And maybe a parent will read that and remember reading that story originally. And it sort of helps them think about what the lesson is and how they can sort of talk about that a little bit more with the kids. But it doesn't have to be like hit you on the head obvious for the kids. That's just some extra content that we've added to the books.
It's like when you read a book for book group and there's the book group guide in the back, right? It's just a little helping hand.
One of the things is sort of we've referenced over and over again is the love for the Chicken Soup for the Soul books that so many people have worldwide. So I think what comes along with that is a trust. What do you attribute that feeling of trust towards?
We have this enormous goodwill out there because for 28 years, we've been there for our readers. We've been there to help them through tough times, to help them navigate milestone moments, to help celebrate with them the good times, the ups as well as the downs. But they do trust us because our storytelling has been supporting them for 28 years and we've never let them down. And so there is that enormous amount of goodwill. And you may not know that Chicken Soup for the Soul has gone way beyond the bookshelf. We actually now are very big in television and films. That's the biggest part of Chicken Soup for the Soul now, because that feel-good storytelling has translated, from the pages of a book to the screen. I would say that today's parents and grandparents not only have warm feelings towards us because of the books and how they grew up with them, but also because they now encounter Chicken Soup for the Soul in their daily lives.
How many books is it now that you've sold worldwide?
More than 300 titles. And I think we say we've sold 500 million books worldwide, but we actually believe it's more like 1 billion. It's really hard to measure it because when you sell it overseas and it's translated into other languages, you're not sure you're getting the right count anymore. Unfortunately, that happens.
Yeah.
But we know that the phrase Chicken Soup for the Soul being used all the time, basically as shorthand for comfort, support, solace, inspiration, motivation. We see, especially journalists in their 20s and 30s, we see them just putting the phrase Chicken Soup for the Soul in articles because they're just assuming everyone will understand it because they grew up with Chicken Soup for the Soul as shorthand for hope, inspiration, comfort, and wellness.
Which kind of actually folds into what I'm going to sort of reference next. For our picture books, we created a little bit of a world for our picture books and our characters. We're going to have recurring kid characters. And these are a group of friends that live in the same apartment building. There's 6 of them and they're best friends. And they form this superhero club. It's a group where they all have their own skills and talents that all kids could have. So they're not necessarily like superhero type things, but they realize that they can make a difference in the world. This really worked in our minds because it's part of the mission of Chicken Soup for the Soul that we're all in this together.
I love the Sunshine Squad. What a fabulous way to kind of wrap a series of picture books for that age group, where the kids are diverse, they have a diverse set of skills, the kids respect each other's skills. But I love the Sunshine Squad because it can expand. You can bring in new kids, you can bring in new issues, whatever is topical and relevant, we'll be able to cover with these books about these wonderful kids in the Sunshine Squad.
I think that might be your mission statement, changing the world one story at a time, which kind of feeds into that.
Yeah, it is, because it works. Yeah. It really does work. One story can have so much power. And we get fan mail all the time from people saying, I read this one story and I had an epiphany and it changed my future path because I just had to hear that story or hear those words.
That is a message that hopefully will resonate right now. I mean, we've just come off of the most difficult year, I think, in anyone's memory, this pandemic year. We still need to stick together and work together in all sorts of ways to just keep going.
We actually have that in our books for adults also. Sometimes we need to read a story where someone is kind to someone else because it gives us permission to act on that impulse that we would have had anyway.
Yeah, that's always the hope, is that you are portraying realistic characters that children can connect with and feel empowered, to do the same kinds of things.
I found that the way that the kids talked and also the portrayal of their inner thoughts in the babies' books and the kids' books was so relatable. I am positive that it's going to have a big impact on babies, toddlers, preschoolers, early elementary kids, because the characters in these stories are incredibly relatable. I was reading them and thinking, oh yeah, I can remember feeling that way as a little kid.
I think the beauty of her writing is that she remembers so clearly what it's like to be 3 or 5 and can really, bring those emotions to the forefront. I do think that that will come across, in a way that's very easy to digest. I'm wondering, how you're feeling about going forward. You know sort of what the story ideas are for the next season of books, and these will be coming in spring 2022.
I think that the Charles Bridge line of babies books and kids books is absolutely consistent with how Chicken Soup for the Soul puts out its own books. And I love all of the themes that are coming in the next season, because they're all my favorite themes already. In fact, they're the same themes that adults need to be reminded of as well, right? SEL doesn't stop when you graduate from high school. You kind of need it for the rest of your life, don't you? I think we're going to be doing this for years. And I think that probably teachers and librarians and parents and grandparents are going to come to depend on this new line of Charles Bridge books for babies and kids. And they'll be looking forward to each new season so they can add on to their collection.
Well, it's definitely been exciting working on them, and I am very excited. We now have a couple of editors in-house working on this, a couple of designers. It's definitely something that has been enjoyable, and we are personally very excited to see what's in store. And we have several seasons sort of at various stages. I have to say, it is exciting, and there will be lots more to come. There's always more Chicken Soup for the Soul books coming out on your side of things for the adults, and then also some revised editions of like older books as well that you have coming up.
We're actually revising Chicken Soup for the Preteen Soul and Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul, because Chicken Soup for the Preteen Soul is more than 20 years old. Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul is almost 25 years old. So I've just actually gone through both of those books, and I've eliminated a lot of stories that I felt were out of date, not that relevant anymore. And we actually did a call out, and we are now republishing Chicken Soup for the Preteen Soul and Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul in August, with about a third of the stories replaced, which is great because we have kids talking about what it was like living through the lockdown, and the distress that they felt and all of that.
And also, I do have to point out that these books will be available in September 20th. Is our on sale date. Thank you, Amy, for talking to us.
Oh, thanks for letting us be involved with this. We are so excited. We were incomplete before, and so exciting to have these coming out so soon after all these years of work together.
Thank you.